Hi, I'm Trisha J. Wooldridge, and I am a novel friend. A novel friend is the business that I started some time ago to encompass my editing, my writing, being an author, and everything I love about words, because words are a bridge between people for communications, a way to build relationships, and as corny as it sounds, to make the world a better place. Hello and welcome to A Novel Friend with Trisha J. Wooldridge. Welcome to the month of November as well. November is the month of All Souls Day and All Saints Day, and that is what inspired me to do another longer reading that I'm splitting up over the month to share with everyone. I was raised Catholic, so we do celebrate All Souls, All Saints Day. It comes after Halloween, after the veil between the realms of the living and the dead, and it gives honor to those who have passed away and those who have been ascended. Instead of poetry, I'm going to share a short story I wrote that is in Dark Luminous Wings by Pole to Pole Publishing. It is actually based on St. Stanislaus Cemetery in Western Massachusetts, where many of my family is actually buried. And it also is a little bit of an urban legend from Western Mass, where people were actually breaking into cars and cemeteries while people were giving respects to their loved ones, which is pretty shitty. I'm going to share this over the month, so you're going to get it in little bits and pieces instead of one big long recording. I hope you enjoy it, and today is part 1 of Cemetery Angels in Dark Luminous Wings as we start November for All Souls and All Saints Month. Cemetery Angels. I knew cemeteries were safe because that was the only place Mom never locked the car. She did everywhere else, and I mean everywhere, even when she was going into the Dairy Mart one street over to get scratch tickets and milk. And then she'd make sure the doors were locked while she balanced the scratch tickets on the rim of the steering wheel so she wouldn't accidentally honk the horn. She needed to know right away if she won. Cemeteries also had angels. I knew they were only disguised as statues. They winked at me once in a while, and sometimes I could hear them shifting, their wing feathers scraping against each other, sounding like how only cement feathers can sound. Daddy was in the cemetery because he died of a heart attack 2 years ago. Mom's parents and grandparents were there too. We visited once a week. Mom said Dad and she had waited 10 years to adopt me, so he'd make sure to be there, even though I couldn't see him. If someone's birthday or anniversary happened to be on another day of the week, we'd go an extra time. And for holidays, like all the military ones, because Daddy was a veteran in Iraq, and for Christmas, and for Mother's Day, and Father's Day, and Grandparents' Day. It wasn't sad either, like people always think. Not only because of the angels, but because Mom wouldn't be sad. If we had a long day of errands, we'd pick up McDonald's or Wendy's and grab the blanket that was always in the back, because Mom said, what if the car broke down in the middle of the winter? And we'd have lunch with Daddy. We'd visit Mom's grandparents and parents first, because they were closer to the entrance, where the stones were not as shiny but had better statues. Bocce and Jaju's stone had a Virgin Mary face that would look up from the baby Jesus she held and smile just for me. Mom would water the planters of carnations, geraniums, and green stuff from Memorial Day to Labor Day, when we were allowed to have planters. Mom always kept 2-liter soda bottles of water in the trunk in case the radiator needed it, or we were stuck in a snowstorm somewhere and needed water. We'd have to melt it first, of course, or if we were at the cemetery and the plants needed watering, which is what we used it for most of the time. Mom always told me her mother, my Bocce, had taught her to always come regularly to clean the stones and water plants and visit. Mom would say, Our Father, and a Hail Mary, and a few other prayers, then tell them newsworthy items, like if I got all good marks on my report card again, and how her deliveries were going, and how tall I was getting. Then we'd go down a few rows to where her grandparents were. They had an angel on top of their stone. If the angel wasn't on the stone, I think she'd be about as big as me, a normal-sized 8-year-old. She had the face of a grown-up, though, and usually her eyes were closed. Except for when I'd rush through Our Father and Hail Mary and be stuck waiting because Mom had only gotten to "Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil," which she always repeated a few extra times, and hadn't even begun her Hail Mary. While I was trying not to be impatient because I didn't know my grandparents, much less Mom's, the angel would look at me or shift weight and adjust her wings. This last visit, I must have been acting especially bugs in the pants because she gave me a particularly dirty look. So I stuck my tongue out at her. Who did she think she was? Mom caught me, though, and told me it was disrespectful, and one of her grandparents had seen that, and their feelings were hurt. I tried to tell Mom about the angel's dirty look, but she said that was ridiculous. It's a statue, Lil. It doesn't make faces. She turned and walked away. I was stunned. I'd always talked about angels protecting us and keeping an eye on us. She agreed then. Why was this different? I didn't press. This hadn't been the first incident of her changing things on me. She always used to agree with all the stories I would tell her too, but now, especially if we were out on errands or if I had homework to do, she'd be upset at my stories. There was no use arguing, and my breath was tied up jogging after her fast pace. So that was the beginning of Cemetery Angels, and I hope you're looking forward to following along and finding out what happens to Lillian and her mom in this month of November. I enjoyed sharing it. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please feel free to subscribe, to share with your friends, leave a comment, all of the above, and I will see you again next week for the continuing story of Cemetery Angels and Dark Luminous Wings.